Hockey Hall of Fame? How about Hockey Hall of Snubbed?
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Wednesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I am your host, Zach Martin. I am the Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers. I do some NHL coverage over at the Calder Times. I am the co-host of the Searchcast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a very, I want to say, interesting, spicy, got some extra juice, whatever you want to call it, for a Wednesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, as we are going to be talking about Rod Brind'Amour in the Hockey Hall of Fame 2024 class, and how he once again gets snubbed. We also get to talk about the 2024 exhibition schedule that the Carolina Hurricanes released on Tuesday. So a lot of information surrounding the Carolina Hurricanes on Tuesday. But before we get into all of that, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Now, like I said, we get to talk about Rod Brind'Amour and how the Hockey Hall of Fame has announced their 2024 class. And some really good names are more than deserving to be on that class, but also, too, there are some names that are very questionable of why they're even there to begin with when you look at guys like Brind'Amour and also Alexander McGillney, who have been off. So first, we're going to jump into what the actual class is. So the class of 2024 has the player section. It has 7 names, 5 players, 2 builders. The players are Natalie Darwitz, Pavel Datsyuk, Jeremy Roenick, Shea Weber, and Chrissy Wendell-Pohl. And in terms of builders, we got Colin Campbell and David Pohl. Now, congratulations to all of them for being named to the 2024 class for the Hall of Fame. It's definitely well-deserving. Can't take that away from the argument in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Now, I'm going to say this. There is definitely 2 players that should not be going into this class. And just talking to other people around the league, talking to other writers with the Hockey Writers, and just talking to people in general, that the Hall of Fame, as of right now, is leaning almost towards the Hockey Hall of Meh. And the fact that is you got 2 players in this class that, in my opinion, should not be in the Hall of Fame right now, or probably shouldn't sniff the Hall of Fame, just in terms of what their resume is compared to 2 guys who should have been in. Who should already be in, but who should have been in the 2024 class. And like I said, can't take away from the guys who got in. They were selected. They're going to the Hall of Fame. But I think overall, you should have replaced these 2 guys with Rod Brind'Amour and Alexander McGillney. Now, one of them is Shea Weber. Now, with Shea Weber, the only really award that he won was a Mark Messier Leadership Award. Other than that, he's a 4-time All-Star. In 1,038 games played, he has 589 points, 224 goals. He did finish as a plus 79, had 714 penalty minutes and 35 game-winning goals, and average over 24 minutes as a defenseman. Played his career in Nashville and Montreal, and that was part of the PK Subban trade. Other than that, he's never won a Norris. He came runner-up twice, finished 3rd once, finished 4th, and finished 6th. Did get some Lang Bing votes, never was really close for that. In terms of Hart trophies, got a 13th here, got an 18th here. Like I said, if you look at how Shea Weber's career is, it doesn't really make sense for him to be a first ballot Hall of Famer with less than 600 points in a little over 1,000 games. And he's got a leadership award, and that's really it in 4 all-star teams. If you look at the resumes of other guys who are already in the Hall, and especially guys who haven't made the Hall of Fame right now who have better resumes, looking at that, it just doesn't make sense to me how Shea Weber's in. Like I said, nothing against him. He does have a hard shot. He won a lot of hard shot competitions at the All-Star game and stuff like that. Like I said, he went there 4 times as an All-Star. But in terms of individual accolades, he has none. Outside of a leadership award that's relatively recent in the last 15 years, maybe 20, I wouldn't really call that a spectacular or sparkling on a resume that makes you a Hall of Famer. He's got no cups as well. So you're talking no individual awards outside of a leadership, and you've got no Stanley Cups, and you have 4 All-Star games to your name. Could he ever have made the Hall of Fame? I really don't think so. To be a first ballot is really surprising for the fact that the other guys are on the list. So for me, Shea Weber just doesn't make sense to get in as a first ballot Hall of Famer or just a Hall of Famer in general. Now, another guy who got in that a lot of people are questioning is Jeremy Roenick. Now, with Roenick, going back, he played 20 years. Shea Weber played 16. Now with Roenick, he's also someone who never won an award, and he also never won a cup. Now, granted, he does have, in 1,363 games, he does have 1,216 points, 513 goals, 703 assists. Well over 1,400 penalty minutes, has 92 game-winning goals, average almost 20 minutes of ice time. He spent time in Chicago, then the Phoenix Coyotes, the Philadelphia Flyers, the LA Kings, and the San Jose Sharks. He placed 11th in the Hart and 16th in the Selke back in the 2001-2002 season. Placed 10th in the Hart in 93-94, 5th place in the Hart in 91-92, and 9th in the Selke that year. And he finished 3rd in the Calder voting in 1889-90 with the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, granted, he did have 3 straight 100-point seasons from 91-92 to 93-94, and of course, everyone knew whoever played AHL 94, he was an absolute cheat code. He was just unstoppable. But you look at past those 100-point seasons, the next best season he had was 78 that he had in 1999-2000 with the Phoenix Coyotes. He was never an all-star, never won individual awards, never won a Stanley Cup. Now, granted, I could probably see why Jeremy Roenick gets in for the fact that he did have over 1,200 points in just under 1,363 games. Does have 500 goals. I can understand why you probably consider Jeremy Roenick for the Hall of Fame. But for me, it's like I said, what you hear almost every year is, okay, does he have the merits? Does he have individual awards? Does this guy have Stanley Cups? In terms of the women's game, do you have, now with the PWHL, you can start talking about championships, but do you have gold medals? Do you have silvers? Have you done stuff at the Olympics, World Juniors, women's worlds and stuff like that? For me, when it comes to Jeremy Roenick, you got the points, you got the goals. You're, like I said, 1,200 points in just over 1,300 games. So you're almost dang near a point per game guy in your entire career. You do have 3 straight 100-point seasons. But he finished 6th 1 year in scoring, and that was his best ever finish. I just don't see how Roenick gets in more than Alexander Mogilny and Rod Brind'Amour. I will give this to Roenick. He has a better case to get into the Hall of Fame if you really want to put him there over Shea Weber. But I still don't understand how those two guys get it over Rod Brind'Amour and Alexander McGillney, who, like I said, have, when you look at it, better resumes in terms of what they've done. And it's just, for me, it just doesn't make sense of how that's possible. So, like I said, you can't, congratulations to Shea Weber and Jeremy Roenick for getting in. I just feel like you're talking about guys who one should already be in the Hall of Fame, but the fact that they aren't, they should have made it in this year. And you know what? Like I said, you can't take it away from the guys who got in this year, but I still think there is a case to be made of why Rod Brind'Amour and Alexander McGillney should get in. So, we talked about how Shea Weber and Roenick getting in. Now it's time to make the case of why Brind'Amour and McGillney should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame and why they should have been part of the 2024 class. And we'll talk about that here in a second on a Wednesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Rather than into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to a segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said at the end of segment 1, we're now going to talk about Rod Brind'Amour and Alexander McGillney and why they should be in, especially Rod Brind'Amour, why he should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. So we talked about Shea Weber, we talked about Jeremy Roenick in segment 1. Now we're going to talk about Alexander McGillney to give a better context of why him and Brind'Amour should be in, because I believe if you're going to talk about Rod Brind'Amour, you have to talk about McGillney as well and why he should be in along with Rod. And just give him a context of, not just looking at Rod Brind'Amour in a vacuum, but also looking at another guy who should be, like I said, should be in with him. So with McGillney, started his career in 1989 to 1990 with the Buffalo Sabres, and he finished his career in 2005-2006 with the New Jersey Devils, playing 16 years. In 990 games, 1,032 points, 473 goals, 559 assists, plus 81, 432 penalty minutes, 66 game-winning goals. He is also a Stanley Cup winner. Yes, that's right. He won the Stanley Cup in his career. And he's also a 2-time All-Star, and he won the 2002-2003 Lady Byng. Already alone by that standard, he should already be in. I mean, he won the Stanley Cup in 1999-2000 with the New Jersey Devils, where in 23 games he had 7 points, average over 16 minutes of ice time. And that was his age 30 season. But you look at overall his entire career, you look at a guy who was top 10 in Lady Byng voting for most of his time in the league. He, like I said, won it in 2002-2003 with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Made a bunch of All-Star teams. He made 2 All-Star teams. Like I said, he won a cup. This man has over 1,000 points in 990 games, and somehow he's still not in the Hall of Fame. But Jeremy Roenick, who had 1,200 points in 1,300 games, he's in with no accolades in terms of trophies for individual or a cup. But somehow McGillney has over 1,000 points in under 990 games. Like, just by looking at that stat alone, it already kind of doesn't make sense of how McGillney's still not in the Hall of Fame. Like I said, nothing against Roenick. I know it's coming off a little, more animated than what's usually here. But I feel like it still makes no sense to me how the Hall of Fame goes about how they pick their, at least with baseball, you kind of get who voted for who, but in terms of hockey, you really don't know what the transparency is of like why certain people are getting in and like who voted for who. It still just doesn't make sense to me on paper. Just looking at McGillney's resume alone, why he's not in. He should be. He should be in. It makes no sense why McGillney's not. Now, we're going to talk to Rod Brind'Amour, who, if you're on the YouTube version, you see that I got my Rod Brind'Amour 25th anniversary jersey hanging on the wall to basically show respect and honor to the guy who should already be in the Hall of Fame for what he's done for the team in Carolina and, what he's already doing as a coach in his first 6 seasons. I mean, it's not exactly the 2006 jersey, but I mean, the 25th anniversaries are still pretty nice. And the fact that it kind of just, like I said, resembles what the 06 one is with more of a modern flair to it. Like I said, if you're on the YouTube side, you can see in the back. It's very nice. You'll love to see it. Now, with Rod Brind'Amour. Oh, boy. All right. How do we start this? In 1,484 games played, he has 1,184 points, 452 goals, 732 assists. He was a minus 39, but he was more of a defensive forward and had to play against a lot of top guys. He had exactly 1,100 penalty minutes, 67 game-winning goals. Oh, and he averaged over 23 minutes of ice time. That's just his stats. Stats alone, over 1,100 in just under 1,500 games played. Points alone, he should already be in. Now, if we're going to go to the accolades side of the thing, how about for the fact that Rod Brind'Amour was part of the 1989-1990 NHL All-Rookie team? Okay, if that's not enough, he's a 2-time Frank J. Selke Trophy winner, and he did that in back-to-back seasons. 2005-2006 when the Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup, and then 2006-2007 in what could be considered a down year for the team. Oh, yeah, and like I said, for the Stanley Cup, he was the captain of the Stanley Cup winning team in 05-06. It's the same season where pretty much every analyst in hockey at the time predicted the Hurricanes to finish last. But luckily with the new rule changes, the Hurricanes had a team that fit the new rule system. And that's why they did what they did in the regular season. Yes, they had to fight really hard in the playoffs, but guess what? In the end, they won the Stanley Cup, 1-7 against the Edmonton Oilers. Thank you, Cam Ward, and your chicken wing save against, Fernando Persani. That image will live in my brain forever, and I am so glad I got to see it in person. That alone, like I said, just the numbers of his stats alone should get him in. How about for the fact that he's got the accolades to back it up, too? Stanley Cup, all-rookie team, and 2 Selkes. Oh, and he did it back-to-back seasons. Accolades alone he should already be in. Stats alone he should already be in. Like I said, Alexander McGillney, he should be in just on his points. And that's not even talking about the fact that he's won a cup. And he's also won the fact he also won a Lady Byng as a multi all-star. Now, Rod Brind'Amour, unfortunately, he never made it to an all-star. He should have. It still doesn't make any sense why he didn't. But he finished 4th in the Calder. Got a lot of their Selke nominations as well throughout his career. He did finish the year when they won the Cup, he finished 10th in Hart voting. But for the fact that Rod Brind'Amour alone, 1,184 points in 1,484 games, over 450 goals, over 700 assists, 1,100 penalty minutes exactly, and 67 game-winning goals. When you look at Mogilny, who had 66. Rod Brind'Amour did this in 20 seasons. Mogilny did that in 16. Shea Weber, in terms of game-winning goals, 35. Jeremy Roenick, he had 92. So you give Roenick that in terms of game-winning goals. But Rod Brind'Amour is the quintessential he's the defenseman. He's the most defensive forward you can think of. An absolute killer in the face-off circle. He's the leader of men. He's been with the Hurricanes since 1999-2000, when the Hurricanes traded Keith Primo for him. Came to Carolina, finished his career here, led the team to a Stanley Cup. Now he's been the head coach for the team for the last 6 seasons, and that was after he was an assistant coach. Rod Brind'Amour is the face of the Carolina Hurricanes. And like I said, his stats alone should already prove that he should be a Hall of Famer. And that's not even talking about the fact that he's a back-to-back Selke winner, all-rookie winner, and he won a Stanley Cup to bring the first ever, Stanley Cup to Carolina. Maybe he'll get in as a coach when he wins a Stanley Cup as a coach. He'll probably get in as a coach. But honestly, he should be in as a player. And for the fact that he isn't again, it makes no sense to me. And like I said, I've said it multiple times, and I keep reiterating this that way people don't get it twisted. Congrats to Shea Weber and Jeremy Roenick for getting in. But you cannot tell me that Rod Brind'Amour and Alexander Mogilny should not be in the Hall of Fame. Again, it's already a travesty that they're not in. But for the fact that in this class, congrats to Pavel Datsyuk. He definitely should be in for what he's done. But there's no way Rod Brind'Amour should not be in the Hall of Fame. I will die on this hill. He should already be in, and the fact that he keeps getting snubbed every single year that this keeps going on is more and more ridiculous. And that's why I say it's the Hall of Meh, because you are leaving not one but two guys who should be in, just on points alone of what they've both done, but for the fact that accolades alone as well, both should get in. You cannot tell me you're going to leave a guy who won Lady Byng and won a cup isn't in, and then you got a back-to-back Selke winner and a cup winner isn't in either. Just on the accolades alone, and not even talking about the points they've put up. So I don't know. It's just, for me, it's ridiculous. Nothing against the class, nothing against the guys who got in, but this is more so frustration towards the Hockey Hall of Fame for the fact that you are still leaving guys out who should be in. Like I said, not getting it twisted, it's just the frustration is ridiculous right now. And I know Hurricanes fans are feeling it. I know Buffalo fans are feeling it, because Mogilny was a Buffalo Sabre for most of his career. 6 years in Buffalo, 5 in Vancouver, 3 in New Jersey, and 3 in Toronto. You look at what Rod Brind'Amour's done. 10 years in Carolina, 9 in Philly, 2 in St. Louis. All those points, all those accolades, those two guys aren't in, especially this guy, number 17, for the Carolina Hurricanes, isn't in the Hall of Fame. It's a joke. I'm sorry, it just is. And hopefully someday we get this figured out and those guys get in, especially Rod Brind'Amour. So let me know what you think. Do you think that Rod Brind'Amour and Alexander Mogilny should have been in this year, especially Rod? I mean, obviously, if you're a Hurricanes fan, then yeah, you're going to say yes to this. But let me know in the comments. Why do you think they should both be in already? And just give me your reasons. We already know what they are, but I would love to hear from everyone else. Let me know what you think about why Rod should be in, why Alexander Mogilny should be in, just for extra flavor. But like I said, congrats to the 2024 class. Nothing against Weber or Roenick. They got in. Congratulations to them. Like I said, the frustrations more so goes to the Hockey Hall of Fame, because it's an absolute joke that those guys aren't in, especially Rod Brind'Amour. So with that being said, we do have the 2024 exhibition scheduled to go over. Super quick, super easy. We know what we're going to be looking at and who we're playing and what days and what times. And we'll get to that here in a second on a fiery and passionate Wednesday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. All right, guys, we got to talk about Game Time, as it is the authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. What I really like about the app is their last-minute ticket deals along with their flash in-zone deals as well, and their views from the seat at the venue with that awesome feature. With their last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports along with concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. So it's not just sports, but also other things in your life as well that you enjoy. You can get 60% off tickets closer to those events. With their flash deals, you can save more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event itself. With their zone deals, you can save more by when you choose the section, but you let Game Time choose the seat for you. And talking about seats, they have a really great feature with their panoramic views that you can get from your seat in the app before you buy. So that way, before you go to the game or the event, you know what you're going to be seeing when you get there. So with all that, you can take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL. That's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said, at the end of segment 2, we're going to jump into and talk about the 2024 exhibition schedule that the Hurricanes released on Tuesday. So the first game, they're going to have 6 games over a span of 2 weeks, and we're going to be playing nothing but southeastern teams. We got the Nashville Predators, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Florida Panthers. So the first game is going to be on Tuesday, September 24th in Tampa. That's going to be a 7 p.m. puck drop, and that's going to be followed up by that Friday, September 27th. They're going to be home against the Florida Panthers. That's also 7 o'clock at PNC Arena, which then after that, it's going to be the first of 2 back-to-backs, and that's going to be against Florida as well on Saturday, September 20th at 7 o'clock at Amerant Bank Arena, to where they're going to take on the now defending Cup champions. Back-to-back games to start off the exhibition schedule, and then they get a couple days off where they come back on Wednesday, October 2nd to play the Nashville Predators at home at 7 o'clock, and then on Friday, October 4th will be the last home game of the exhibition schedule against Tampa Bay, which is also another 7 o'clock start, and that will be the kickoff to the second back-to-back games. And this one's also going to be on the road October 5th on Saturday against the Nashville Predators at a 5 p.m. start at Bridgestone Arena. So you have 2 back-to-backs, and they're both going to be home for the first one, on the road for the second one. And for the second one, you're talking about less than 24 hours from puck drop, from the 7 o'clock start on Friday night to the 5 o'clock start on Saturday. So within a span of 2 weeks, from September 24th to October 5th, you already know what you're looking in terms of your schedule. You get 6 games against 3 teams in the Southeast. You got, like I said, Nashville, Tampa, and Florida. Couple back-to-backs, a lot of home then road for those as well. And like I said, the last one, you're talking less than 24 hours between puck drops for those games on the 4th and the 5th. And by looking at how the schedule is for that, I would not be surprised if we're looking at a October 7th, October 8th start time for the NHL season. So, I mean, it is sooner than it was this past season. So hopefully, we're not waiting super long and stuff like that. I wish we were starting October 1st, or at least somewhere in that first week of October, but so be it. At least we're going to get the second week start. At least it's not going to be later like it was this past season. But that's kind of looking at what we're looking at. And then, of course, by then you'll know what kind of we've gone through training camp. You're going to see what guys are going to try to fight for, roster spots. But at least we know that we're looking at September as our first set of games. So we are actually just at under 3 months away from, preseason hockey. At least we know that we have something to look forward to, that in late September, we got our first preseason game, and it's going to be against the Tampa Bay Lightning in Tampa, Florida. So there's something to look forward to. But that will wrap up a Wednesday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. I know it is very much more flavorful than what it usually is here. But just the Hall of Fame stuff, ooh, man, that got me fired up. But I hope everyone enjoyed the episode. If you want to keep up with me on anything that's going on with the Carolina Hurricanes, you can follow me at One Shoe Zach on X. You can follow the podcast at @Ella_Hurricanes. If you click the link to my bio, you can find all my articles at the Hockey Writers, which we'll definitely be talking about Rod Brind'Amour and the schedule as well on that side of things. If you want to check out anything I do on the AHL side, you can go check that out at the Calder Times. There's a link to where to listen and watch my other podcast, The Searchcast. And you also can find a link to where to listen to this show on all podcast platforms. If you leave a 5-star rating and a review, I might just read it on the show. We are just one rating under. We're one rating away from 50 total, and hopefully that'll be a 5-star rating. Now, in terms of the YouTube side of things, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss a show. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what you think of Rod Brind'Amour getting snubbed from the Hall of Fame once again. Let me know what you think about the exhibition schedule, and are you excited for the fact that we know that we're less than 3 months away officially from our next hockey game, even though it is preseason. So make sure you go do that. And make sure with the podcast on the YouTube side of things, make sure to share with other Hurricanes fans so hopefully they become everydayers just like you, because we are just very much getting closer to 900 subscribers, but we are on the road to 1,000. If we hit 1,000 subscribers, I might just do something special for you guys. But like I said, I hope everyone enjoyed this Wednesday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone's a great rest of their Wednesday. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.